Alright, well, it's a couple days later. I went through my parts list for both projects, and I just don't have the funds right now to work on the car project. So we're going to bring the white truck in, and I'm going to get started on the white truck project. All right, there we go.
That's what it was. But I went through and did the whole... Ah!
Watch your fingers!
Are you ready?
Yep.
There's the mirror.
Perfect, right there.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
You're very welcome.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mohawk Motors. So today, I hope to be able to get the heads pulled off of this 6-liter engine in the white pickup truck and see if my suspicion of valve problems is correct. Let's get this thing torn apart and see what we need to do to fix it. All right, well, the first thing we need to do is get the dress-up cover off, get the intake tubing off, and start getting our wire harness disconnected. Okay, I've got my engine dress-up covers and my intake tube off. Next thing I'm going to do is get the antifreeze started draining out of the lower radiator hose, and then disconnect the battery. And then I'm going to start disconnecting the wire harness so I can drape the whole harness over here in the power distribution box. Alright, we've got the antifreeze draining, got the battery disconnected. Next thing to do is get the wire harness unhooked. It's a lot of push lock connectors, just like that. The nice thing about the GM harness is most of the connectors will only plug into one place. Because I'm putting this harness back where it came from the factory, the memory of the wires is going to make it easy for me to get everything back where it goes. So you undo all the connectors, and then there are a couple grounds on the back of the driver's side cylinder head. You need a 13mm. I use a 13mm ratcheting wrench, and that makes it easiest to get those undone. So let's get all this wiring out of the way. Disconnected on the passenger side. I'm going to get everything disconnected on the driver's side. That's where those couple grounds are. And then we'll keep going. Alright, so I'm having trouble reaching those grounds at the back of the cylinder head. So I'm going to go ahead and get the intake manifold off. There are 10 8mm bolts that hold that on. The fuel supply line, I've already disconnected the electrical sensors that are attached to it, and then just the little steam port up here that runs through the throttle body. Intake manifold out of the way, got the wire harness out of the way. The next thing I'm going to focus on is getting the coil packs off the valve covers, and then getting the exhaust manifolds unbolted, and also getting the valve covers out of the way. I'm just going to unbolt the exhaust manifolds from the down pipes, not from the heads. Because they can come out with the heads, that's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. And yeah, just get all this other smaller stuff out of the way so I can have access to the head bolts. Pretty sure I've got everything loosened, removed, ready to get this driver's side head pulled off. This is the one that I'm pretty sure we've got a bad valve in cylinder number 5. So let's see if this thing will come out. There it is. The piston seems to be holding water just fine. So I would assume that would mean it would hold in compression just fine. We'll have to roll the engine over a little bit here. Right, let's roll this thing over. Alright, number 3 looks good. Number 1 looks good. Number 5 looks just fine. Number 5 honestly looks like looks like it's hardly ever run. It also looks really clean. Maybe it's steam clean? A gasket leak or something? Number 7 looks good. So we've got good looking pistons, good looking cylinders on this side. That's a good thing. That piston's really clean though. Alright team, we've got passenger side head ready to come off. There we go. Alright, turn the engine over a couple times by hand. Get the water pushed out of these cylinders. They look really good though. Still see the cross hatch in them. Piston 2 looks good. 4 looks good. Piston 6 looks good. And piston 8 looks good. Everything looks good on this side. That's excellent. That's what we wanted to see. There we go. Heads off on both sides. And I think there will be enough space that I can pull off the water pump, the accessory bracket on the driver's side, pull my electric fans out, and pull the radiator out, and I think that'll give me enough room that I can get the cam in and out. I hope. Alright, so I've got my drop light. Let's shine some light through these intake and exhaust runners and see if that shows us anything. I don't see any light around that intake valve. Let's take a look at the exhaust side. I don't see any light around the exhaust side either. I don't know. I don't know why we didn't have any compression in that cylinder. Have to keep digging. All right, everybody. So I can't find anything obviously wrong with the head, the valves, gasket, anything about that number 7 cylinder. I can't see anything wrong with it. If I'd had the ability to pressurize the cylinder and do a leak down test, I would have been able to hear where air was escaping. My guess, because that piston is so clean, is that the head gasket was leaking. And that was allowing coolant in, and when it did fire, it was creating steam, and that steam cleaned that piston up really well. So what I'm going to do to test that cylinder is I'm going to fill it with gas and let it sit. And gas is thin enough that if there's a leak around the piston rings, it should leak out. I expect to see slight leakage, especially because gas evaporates, so some will evaporate, some will leak out. But to only have 30 psi of compression like we did, it's a pretty substantial leak that we're looking for here. So I'm going to fill it with gas, let it sit, and then I'm going to call it for the day. Alright team, well, I poured gas down in that cylinder. I had it filled right up to the very edge where it started to flow back out again. Left it for 15 minutes and it hasn't moved. So I believe my piston rings are absolutely fine. There's nothing to worry about there. From doing that and from inspecting the head, my best guess at this point is that there was a head gasket leak that was allowing coolant into that cylinder, which before it got so bad that it couldn't make compression, caused that cylinder to steam clean itself. That explains why that piston is so much cleaner than all the other ones are. I also noticed in the exhaust manifold from that side, the cylinder 7 port was wet inside the exhaust manifold, which also leads me to believe that there's been a head gasket leak on that side that has allowed water into that cylinder. So, you know, fortunately, I'm not putting those heads back on anyway, so I can eliminate that factor. I'm pretty confident that the piston and piston rings are absolutely fine. So, that's it for this video. I'm going to call it there, and I appreciate all of you that watched. Thanks so much for dialing in. I hope you found this helpful or at least entertaining. And until the next video, take care.